Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Tier 3 meeting. It's really excited to see, I think we're just shy or a little over 200 supervisors, managers, division directors, deputy directors, and directors in the audience today. And this is an exciting time for Adams County because this is the first time we've all convened all of the entire management team in the county. And so I think we should give ourselves a round of applause for that. And just bear with me because I'm losing my voice, so please excuse my voice if it goes in and out. But, you know, before I get started, I really wanted to talk a little bit about a few housekeeping items. And first, we are videotaping this first Tier 3 meeting, and one of the reasons why is because the information that we're providing today is really valuable information for the entire organization. And so we're going to make this available for everyone to watch. And I believe it'll be uploaded on My Adams or both and made available as well throughout the organization. And really, it gives you the opportunity to go back and watch at your convenience. And for those supervisors and managers who were not able to join us today, they could participate and not miss any of the information. But I will tell you, though, we are not going to tape any other Tier 3 meetings, and this will be the only one. So I don't want to set a false expectation for everyone that we will be recording all of these meetings. Which leads me to why we are here today. To kick off today's meeting, I thought I would start by asking all of the first-level supervisors in the audience to please stand. And if you're a first-level supervisor, please stay standing as I get through my a few talking points. First-level supervisor. So, first-line supervisor. So if you look around, this is where the rubber meets the road. I mean, it's all of you who are enforcing our policies and procedures and making sure that they are followed. You are the bridge between line staff and management. And it is you who are the first to know and to assess the morale of line staff. And I want you to know we value the role you play in this organization. And so I want to give you a round of applause. You know, I've been in this, you could sit down now, thanks. So I've been in this role for 9 months now, in this new role for 9 months now, and we've been through a lot of organizational changes, but the one thing that remains constant, I would say, is my leadership philosophy. And some of you have seen, or most of you have seen this We Are Adams logo. I pinned it on twice and it's fallen off, so we need to check the vendor for this button. But this logo represents an organizational pride in our organization. And it also represents, it makes us feel connected. And it also represents the core values and the cultural norms that we stand behind. And I will tell you, all of this builds happiness at work. And so this logo, We Are Adams, it really, truly is a staple in our organization. And I really want to thank everyone for standing behind this because this is what brings us all together at the end of the day. We are Adams. You know, as leaders, it is our responsibilities to build, you know, an organizational culture that really embraces learning and continuous improvement. And as leaders, we need to allow our staff and those that we supervise or manage or lead, because we're all leaders, you know, we need them to be able to discover their talents and their skills and develop their talents and their skills, and then show off their talents and skills. And I think over the last 9 months, we have been able to demonstrate that. And in my opening remarks, you know, I thought it was really beneficial for me to share my leadership philosophy, which is pretty simple. And that leadership philosophy is that everyone in this organization matters. And that is as simple as that. And I think that you have seen that through some of the programs and some of the emails and some of the communication that we have been able to demonstrate over the last 9 months that we truly care about every single team member in this organization. And it is my goal as your county manager to develop an employee-centric organization that really values continuous improvement and learning. And this morning, we have a short video that we want to show you that really, I have coffee with Ray, and I had an opportunity to the entire executive leadership team went to Human Services Center, and we were able to listen to some amazing team members ask lots of questions. And, this video is going to demonstrate how it is my priority to be responsive. And really, when we established a new core service area called People and Culture, this really shows and demonstrates the significant role that they'll play in this organization. And so we'll listen to this video real quick, or watch this video.
After I graduated from law school in New York in 2012, I was looking for more opportunities, so I came to Colorado in 2014. I was able to get in with the county as a community support specialist. And then afterwards, I was keeping an eye on the opportunities because I come from a legal background. We actually had a meeting about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was able to voice my concerns.
I spoke with Jolly right after the coffee session and talked to him a little bit about his background and what he wanted to accomplish with Adams County and where he wanted to go. Within, I would say, about a week, we had an opportunity for him to do some job shadowing over at the district attorney's office.
I would say about a week later, I was offered that job. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. When things move quickly here, it's quick. A few things helped. The first thing was the mentor program. My mentor was Herb Covey. He suggested that I go outside of my comfort zone. I'm usually an introvert, so I don't really like to, network. It doesn't come as easy for me. Looking back, I wish I had done that sooner. It was stunning, really, because at that point I was pretty much close to giving up. I thought, well, maybe I'm just not good enough for the county. Maybe I should look elsewhere. But this was sort of like a last resort.
I think the county is very dedicated to supporting the employees, and part of that is helping employees be in the positions that they want to be in and the positions that match their skills. And so the entire People and Culture Services area wants to help employees get to where they want to be. And if we know what that is, we can help them get there, whether it be reviewing applications and reviewing resumes, doing some career coaching. We always want the right people in the right jobs. And so if we have a mismatch there, if we have people that want to be in places that they're not currently, we just want to help people.
I would just say persistence is key. Don't give up. It was 98 applications, and before I finally just spoke to the right people, and that's what did it. I'll be helping attorneys with their cases. I'll be writing a memorandum for them, requesting documents. I just see it as gaining a great opportunity. You definitely feel more valued knowing that your voice will be heard. All you have to do is just find the right person.
This is how we want every situation to end, with a happy ending and a good outcome.
So just to put some framework, yes. Oh, no, not that one. So just to put it in perspective, one of the team members came up to us, and he was extremely frustrated and felt like he has applied for several positions within the county, and I mean several. I mean, he had a stack of applications that he had submitted, and his his first recommendation was that we need to be more responsive because we don't do a great job of responding if you're an internal applicant when you're trying to apply for a promotion. And second is he really believed in the mission and vision of the organization and wanted to work for Adams County. And so with the help of Amy and the coaching that she provided, she really made it possible for him to get a job with the DA's office and really go down a path of where he started when he graduated from college. And so, and I think it's important for me to say that's when I envisioned creating a new core service area, People and Culture. That's the job that they are here to do. And it's really making sure that our organization is people-centric, one that is all about continuous improvement and learning. And Patty and her entire team has outlined a great presentation this morning to really unveil some of the services that they'll be providing through people and culture. And so with that, I'd like to ask Patty to come up and start her presentation.
Good morning. I'm Patty Duncan, and I'm very excited to share with you about people and culture. My role this morning is initially to introduce you to this new service area, and we're going to do that through the document you have in your hand, and we'll be walking you through that in a few minutes. But before we do that, I'd like to first share a little bit about myself and talk a little bit about how the organization arrived at the decision to create this service area called People and Culture. A little bit about myself. I've been in public sector for over 30 years, and when I say that, it's kind of staggering to me, but it is true. And the entire time I have worked in the public sector, I've always had a connection to human resources and to organizational development. And that was a very intentional choice on my part, because I personally have a real passion for the people who work for an organization. Any organization with which I've worked, I've been very committed to creating a great work environment. So that's the culture piece, focusing on the people and the culture. So to be part of an actual service area called People and Culture for me is absolutely thrilling. I also am very fortunate here because I have an amazing leadership team I get to work with, very aligned, very committed, all working in the same direction. That's great. Have a great team in People and Culture. You'll be meeting some of the leadership, all of the leadership from People and Culture, in fact, this morning, so I'm excited to introduce you to them as well. But honestly, when I think about standing up here and talking to you about this, I feel so fortunate to be at this place, at this time, in this role. It's just, for me, absolutely thrilling, and I feel so fortunate. Just to give you a little background on how the leadership team landed at this place of a new service area called People and Culture, when we were talking about the organization and the value of employees in the organization, we recognized that there are a lot of different programs and initiatives and efforts that have been underway now for some time at the county. And the feedback that we are getting, and through our own observation, we thought the piece that's perhaps missing, where there's an opportunity to take it to the next level, if you will, is to put some structure around all of these efforts that are underway. And then really put some strategy behind it as well. So those are the two terms that I use a lot with regard to People and Culture. We're bringing structure and strategy, because we wanted to make sure that all of these efforts were consistent, right? That we didn't have duplication throughout the organization, that through all of these efforts it wasn't creating some confusion for people, and more importantly, that we didn't have any efforts working at cross purposes with one another. So having that alignment around all of these efforts is really important, and that's one of the things that we have work to do in the chart that you see in your hand. So this chart is intended really to tell you, first, who we are, and secondly, what we do. That's the intent. And it's on cardstock, because Jim told me if you get people a piece of paper, they look at it and oftentimes toss it. But if you put it on cardstock, they think, this is so important, because it's on heavy paper. I should keep this. And that's the plan. So please keep this and use this as a reference document going forward. But I'd like to draw your attention first to the 5 circles there to the left. And that is what I'm calling the 4 functional areas of people and culture. And what you see there is learning and development, diversity and inclusivity, organizational effectiveness, and then human resources. And then you notice that on the human resources part of the chart, we've included the entire HR team. And we've called this our team overview so that you know who makes up people and culture. And some of the names I'm sure are very familiar to you. You've probably worked with some of these people who are on the chart. And there are some new names, people you haven't met yet. And you're going to meet some of them today. But that is our team. And what I can tell you is when the announcement came out in the fall about this new service area, the first thing I did was mobilize the people and culture leadership team, those who you're going to hear from today. And we came together and started meeting, and we spent a lot of time talking as a team. And I think that time was very well spent, because at the end of it, we ended up with this document. But almost as importantly, we ended up a pretty aligned team, just from going through the exercise of answering a couple of key questions as a team. And the first one was, what's our purpose? Why would this organization invest this kind of time and these kinds of resources into creating the service area called People and Culture? And as we explored that question, let me tell you, we had the whiteboard and we covered it, lots of wordsmithing, lots of brainstorming, lots of philosophical discussion as a leadership team. And what we ended up with is a purpose statement that I am very proud of. And it is to cultivate the success of Team Adams. And we were very deliberate in how we selected those words, each of those words. And the first one is cultivate. And for those of you who garden or have flowers, tend flowers, you think about when you're planting a seed or you're tending your garden, a focus is on cultivating or nurturing or creating an environment where that plant can grow and can thrive. And that's kind of how we looked at it for our organization, for all of the members of Team Adams. How can we cultivate the success? And again, very deliberate word, very broad in nature, because we know every single one of you and every single team member in Adams County will define success very personally. Success is one of those terms that we each get to decide for ourselves what that means. And then of Team Adams. Team Adams collectively and Team Adams individually. That concept of the whole and the individual. So we are very proud of our purpose statement to cultivate the success of Team Adams. And that is what is going to be the driving force behind the work that we do on behalf of all of you. When we finished with our purpose statement, we then shifted to, okay, so how will we know if we've achieved that? What would success look like for us? And we shifted to developing a goal statement. And again, the same methodology applied. A lot of wordsmithing, a lot of philosophical discussion, and we came up with a place where every person shines. And we answered the ultimate question of what would wild success look like for our team? And we landed on it would be a place, and that place being the culture, where every person, again, emphasizing that whole concept of inclusivity and shine. We each get to decide what that means for us personally. For some people, shining will mean advancing in the organization, right? Growing, developing, and advancing, moving up the career ladder. For some people, the workplace is very important to them in terms of their relationships that they make. And that's how they may choose to shine. For other people, it may just be becoming the best in the work that they're doing, just honing their skills right where they are. It's very personally defined for each person. But we thought, when we came up with a place where every person shines, we stopped and we were just like, wow, wouldn't that be great? Isn't that a lofty goal? And we wanted a lofty goal. We want a lofty goal. And that is how we are going to measure our success. and how close we get to that place where every person will shine. So when we were working through these two statements and our structure, we were very careful to make sure that we were aligned with the organization's mission and the organization's vision. And also all of the work that's been done related to the norms and the values at the county. So we believe that our purpose statement and our goal statement fully align with the work that's already been done that precedes us. So that is, in a nutshell, who we are and our purpose and our goal. So if you will look at the chart in your hand, we looked at the team overview. I'd like you to flip over now to the wheel. We're calling this our service wheel. And when I shared this with some people just to get some feedback, I handed it to them because I'm pretty proud of this document. A lot of effort went into it, and what I can tell you is the communications team is amazing. And any of you who have worked with that team already know that. But this was version number 9. We didn't get into double digits, but we were pretty dang close because we wanted it to be as close to perfect as it could possibly be. And so at the end of the production, we are all, our team is very proud of this document. But when I share it with people, here's the reactions I typically get. That's really pretty. Wow, that's colorful. My friend said, that looks fun. That looks like a fun place to work right there. And then the next thing is, that's a lot of information. Oh my goodness, that's busy. And we recognize that, and we talked about that as a team. But we really believe that when you stop and you just start breaking it down into the different sections, it becomes pretty clear. And our intent is that it serves as a real guide for all of you, because when you are accessing us for assistance, this will be helpful to guide you in the direction of whom should I call, where should I start. But we also talked about the importance of it not really mattering if any of you were to call the right section. We're going to get you the help you need. We'll get you where you need to be, ultimately. But this just serves as a good resource for you. So please hold on to it and use it. Matt just informed me this morning that we're going to have a landing page on My Adams where this is going to show up, and I think it goes live either today or tomorrow at the absolute latest. So it'll be on there as well for the benefit of all employees to be able to access. But we are pretty darn excited and proud of this document. I'm going to hand over the presentation to Terry in a moment, but before I do that, I just want to walk you through the wheel just real quickly and show you how we structured it. The very top of the circle is human resources. So it has the divisions of benefits and wellness, strategy and support, and compensation and HRIS. And all of those fall under Terry's leadership as the HR director. The bottom half of the circle are the 3 other divisions that make up people and culture. And that is learning and development, diversity and inclusion, and organizational effectiveness. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Terry, and she's going to talk a little bit about human resources.
Good morning, everyone. The entire HR department is really excited about being a part of the larger people and culture team. We will be working together to provide additional enhanced services, and as we have in the past, we'll continue to partner with all of you to provide our core services. Amy, Charles, and I will talk to you in a minute about some of the core services we provide, as well as a few key projects we'll be working on over this year that will hopefully help you and your team. But first, I want to take a minute to talk to you about why we do what we do. So, show of hands, how many of you have a trusted person in your life that you know that you can count on? Most of you, not all. Every significant relationship starts with a trusted partner. Many, if not all of you, have reached out to Human Resources for something, for one reason or another, at some point. Perhaps you talked to Patsy, Shelley, or Sam, to get assistance when you were first applying for a job at the county. Maybe Tara or Pauline helped you figure out whether your benefits would cover a particular health issue that they were having. Maybe one of the business partners helped you facilitate a team building exercise. Everyone in the HR department is here to partner with you from the time you are applying for a job on our website to the time you leave the county. I want you to know that we do our jobs every day because we care about you and the members of your team. We strive to do our best to make your jobs easier, and we want to be your trusted partner. So next, I'd like to turn it over to Amy Jones, who is the HR manager over strategy and support.
Thank you, Terry. Good morning. You're going to hear that like 10 times. So the more you get excited about your response, maybe you might hear it less. Before I get started, I would be completely remiss if I didn't acknowledge and publicly thank Tina Jaquetta for her work with the District Attorney's Office and helping our employee Jolly Ray. And so thank you, Tina, from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the county, thank you. The support and strategy section is my team, which I have to tell you, I have the very best team in the county. I know you all think you do, but I'm right. And my team consists of my two senior specialists, who are Shelley Lubbock and Audrey Schroeder. Shelley handles all of the recruitment with NeoGov, job posting, the Employee of the Season program, tuition reimbursement, and onboarding. And Audrey Schroeder handles all of the advertising. She also manages our Bring Your Child to Work Day event and does a lot of stuff in our department with budget and helps in way too many ways. And then I'm also so fortunate that I get 4 HR business partners, and I think 2 of them are here today, Caitlin and Beth. My third one is Jamal, and then I have a vacancy as well. But this team is so incredibly talented, and they bring so much experience, and they're so dedicated to just helping you, and that's really what we're here for, is to help you. And so the HR business partners are the ones that you work the closest with in that. So altogether, my team really is here to help with the entire life cycle of an employee's career. So from the very beginning, we help with the onboarding process. And for the next year, one thing that we're really working on is updating our orientation. And Heather has been leading that effort with Jamal, trying to make sure that your employees start out with the county on the right foot, that we're setting them up really for the best success that they can have, and making sure that when they get to your department, they are ready to go. Next, we're also here to help with anything throughout their career while they're here, and you in your career. And that includes any kind of a team building, any coaching, mentoring. We can do mediation. We can do performance improvement activities. We can do strategic planning, all sorts of things. The possibilities are really endless. So we're here to partner with you throughout that time. And then if you do, unfortunately, have a vacancy, like I do right now, I know how hard that is. How many of you have vacancies right now? Oh my gosh. That's called job security. I'm just kidding. I know how tough that is. I know the impact to your teams when you have a vacant position, and it's really time-consuming and demanding. And so I want you to know we're here to help you. We recognize that this year the job market is getting tighter and tighter as the unemployment rate continues to fall. And so we are really focusing on being proactive this year with our recruiting efforts. So we're going to be participating in a lot more job fairs. We're also going to be updating all of our recruitment materials to really sell why it's so great to work at Adams County. And then lastly, we're also creating, my goal is to create a whole part on the intranet, on our web pages, that really help candidates be successful while they're trying to apply for jobs. And so really creating some more resources for them as well, so that we're showing that we're not only supporting them in their effort to get a job here, but we're also going to support them once they get here. And so that's kind of our goals and where we're going for the next year. I can speak on behalf of my amazing and wonderful and fabulous team that we're excited to be here. We're really excited to be a part of this People and Culture section. And we're really just passionate about partnering with you and helping you. That's why we exist, that's why we're here, and that's what we want to do. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Charles with health and wellness, benefits and wellness.
Hello. I'm not doing the good morning thing, so you've already done that enough, and you're trained in it now, right? Okay. So I'm Charles Duche. I'm the benefits manager with a wonderful group of people who have great expertise with respect to benefits and wellness. My team consists of Pauline Hahn, who's benefits administrator, Terry Lindgren, who is HR benefits specialist, and Jesse Cutting, who is our health and wellness coach. And part of our focus and approach is to help you and your team members stay healthy and well so that you can be productive in serving our community and the citizens of the county. With that in mind, and helping both with recruitment and retention by having a wonderful benefits package, our services and programs include, of course, the health insurance and health benefits. And we're real proud because this year we had a what? A decrease in health premiums, right? We haven't found anybody that's been able to do that. That is partly as part of the function of staying healthy and well, and you've done a great job, and your team members have done a great job. In addition, to support that, we have the Care Here employee health clinics. We have now, as you probably know, we have 2 of them, and they're there to help and support you and your team members with health and wellness. And one of the important things is if they need that health care, they don't have to take a lot of time off the job. And so you can be more productive because they're there to help you. In addition, we have the fitness centers. Does everybody know we have 2 of those? Okay. One of the things I want to emphasize is if you've been given access to it, gone through the process, you can access both of those centers. You're not restricted to the government center, you're not restricted to Human Services Center. And that's been kind of some confusion. But I'm kind of proud of those. I think I'll match them up against anybody's health or fitness centers in terms of what they have available. In addition, we have our wellness programs, a vast and complete wellness programs that Jesse Cutting, who is our health and wellness coach, who is also a registered dietitian, is there to help you with your health and wellness, both in terms of programs and classes and individually. She has met with a lot of employees individually to help them with coaching and counseling with their particular health needs. We also, of course, do the FMLA and ADA process. Our key projects for this year are a benefits long-range plan. We have developed this in concert with our benefits consultants, Hayes companies, and we will be presenting that for review and approval tomorrow at study session with the county commissioners to give us the long-range focus of what we want to do both now and in the future. Additional key projects are lactation rooms available in every one of our buildings and improvement with the process improvement with the ADA process. Our whole focus and goal is to help you and the team members with their health and wellness, realizing that sometimes bad things happen to good people. And we're here to help you and them through that as well. Our commitment is to sustain and expand our benefits and health programs, both now and in the future, for you and all of our team members. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Terry for compensation HRIS. Thank you.
All right, first I'd like to introduce a new employee to the county. Pete, can you please stand? This is Pete Luke. He's our new compensation and HRIS manager. Yay! We're very excited to have him on board. His actual first day is next week, but he really wanted to be here today to meet all of you, and we're glad that you got to see his face, and the team's really excited to have him on board starting next week. He comes to us from the city of Boulder, where he was the compensation manager there, and he will lead a team consisting of Deanna Geyer, who is our compensation analyst, Jerry Hicks, our JDE application specialist, and Candace Salazar, our HRS specialist. So I want to start by talking about one of the core services we provide, which is compensation strategy. We're very excited that all full-time and part-time employees received a pay increase as of January 1 of this year. So those market increases are the result of the annual salary survey and analysis that we do to ensure wages are competitive with our established market organizations. Many organizations conduct this study every other year or every few years. And we're really happy that we have the support of the Board of County Commissioners and our leadership team to do this analysis every year. And if we need to adjust ranges and wages, as the data indicates, that they allow us to do that annually. And now, it just happened to be this year, every job family was impacted. So we were happy that things worked out that way. So along with the core services depicted on the service wheel, the team will be working on a few key projects. The first is finalizing a bilingual pay program. Deanna Geyer, Amy Jones, and members of an A-Proud subcommittee have been working to create a program so that we can compensate team members who utilize their translation skills in their job. Details need to be finalized and approvals need to occur, but the anticipated implementation date of that program will be around the second quarter of 2018. Another project we'll be working on is a pay equity study. So we will be looking across various demographics in the county, such as age and gender, to ensure we are paying equitably. Lastly, how many of you liked the online benefits open enrollment process this year? Good, good, good. We're happy that the enrollment process is much more efficient, and we heard from all of you and the members of your team that it was a fairly easy process. So we were happy to hear that. We were able to update inaccurate data, have an ongoing structure in place to make it easier for you to make changes in the future. I want to thank all of you who assisted us in making sure that all employees entered their benefits on time by the October 31st deadline. So we really appreciate all of your help with that. And also, I just want to say a thank you to the IT and payroll team who helped our benefits team pull this together in a short period of time. So there have been additional enhancements that we'll talk to you about in a future Tier 3 meeting, the self-service enhancements. The team will be working with IT and payroll to implement additional self-service options for all team members. With that, I'll turn it over to Matt Rivera, who is our Organizational Effectiveness Manager.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. Similar to Ray, I'm losing my voice, which is very unfortunate to all of you because I rarely have a mic in my hand without busting out a good song. I have a pretty good couple karaoke songs that I can resort to. But anyhow, my name is Matt Rivera. I'm the Organizational Effectiveness Manager. But before I get into what organizational effectiveness is, I'd like to introduce myself since I am new. Amy mentioned onboarding. I just went through that process, so I'm a little biased being that I've worked with folks in HR for the last 5 months, but it was an exceptional process. Great way to start. But I am from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I moved up here and helped contribute to the traffic jams that you guys are all experiencing, so apologies there. I also, as you see, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, though I have adopted the Denver Broncos as a secondary team, though I think that was to your detriment this year because I clearly cursed them. But more importantly, I'm a husband and I'm a father of two, and that's what's most important to me. And Adams County reminds me a lot of my home city. And so I'm really happy to be here. I'm proud to be here. I've been focused on improving organizational sectors for the last 12 to 15 years of my career. It's what I'm committed to. So this is a true dream opportunity for me to be an organizational effectiveness manager with Adams County. So again, thank you for affording me the opportunity to be here in this capacity. Now I'll get into what is organizational effectiveness. And when I talk about organizational effectiveness, I bring up people, and I bring up connection, and I bring up relationships. Why? Because I think those are the most critical to achieving positive outcomes, whether they be for yourselves, our organization, the community, or your team members. So I think all of those come together. But most importantly, the relationships aspect shows that it's not only about people and connection in your interpersonal relationships, it's that relationship you have with others in the organization. It's those organizational charts, it's the structures, the systems. When we talk about IT and communications, all of those relationships are key. And so that's a little bit about what organizational effectiveness means in those terms. Now, when I put it into terms of application, what does that mean for you? If you guys are going through a change or you guys are putting together a team, I'm there with you. We are there together. And that's what's important, meaning you can call me and say, hey, I'd like you to come work with my team on some of the team dynamics because we're gonna incur a really large transformation. Can you help facilitate something? Can you work us through? Can you review our structure? I have worked with some departments in here already, and I've been very fortunate to get insight into those departments, but I can help in so many capacities. So I would just suggest that you right away, the first thing you do is call if you think you need anything, and we start from a position of yes, and that's what Patty has really instilled upon us. So I'm going to say yes right away. It's a big change for me. You know, it doesn't work in my home life by any means to say yes right away, but I'll do that here, absolutely. I put wild success up there because Patty talked about our goal and our purpose and achieving a place where every person shines. And so it's up to us to work together to achieve this idea of wild success. So I know that means something different to each of you. And Amy talked about job security. There's no more job security than that when I'm trying to achieve wild success alongside everyone in this room, because it's different for everybody. So when I talk about the idea of being a partner, an advocate, a champion, it's because I'm a voice for you. We're there together next to each other. I don't have staff to introduce because this is the team. I'm a peer, I'm a colleague. We're all together on this. And so we're going to take information and we're going to pass it up, and we're going to use that information to bring about some real meaningful change to the organization. A good example is the real-time recognition program that we're going to be rolling out here shortly. The great people in purchasing just put out the RFP, but that was all feedback we gathered from people in this room. You guys want more empowerment. You want the ability to reward your employees when they do something really well, when they go above and beyond. And so we're going to all be working together to get that out there very soon. So that's super exciting for us. You guys have probably heard a little bit about the focus group. So I have been, right there as a catalyst. I will continue to be. I will be engaging you in a similar manner to capture that type of information. Transparency and accountability. You guys are going to get access to information probably unlike you've ever seen about the organization. Why? Because I said it, we're in this together. We all own the place where everyone shines, and only together can we make that happen. So how can you make that happen if you don't know where you stand and where we stand as an organization? So I am going to share a lot of organizational health indicators. You're going to get insight, you're going to be able to provide feedback, and it's going to be more of a constant communication. And that's that accountability piece. I'm not only accountable for making sure that this gets carried out together with you, I am also accountable for making sure I'm communicating with you regularly. So this idea of an enriching experience for Team Adams, and what does that mean? I like to suggest it's that sensation you get or that feeling you get when someone asks you about work, where do you work? Or on a Sunday night, we all had it last night, thinking about the work week. What is that feeling we have? What is that fire we have inside of us? What is that fire we all have for our employees? And together we need to find the fuel for ourselves and for our employees. And it's up to me to make sure that I work alongside all of you to ignite that and to fuel that flame so that we can be a place where everyone shines. So again, that in a snapshot is what organizational effectiveness is, but more importantly, I'm available to everyone in here, and I do expect and hope that you reach out to me. And again, we'll start from a position of yes. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Dennis Swain, who's going to talk about diversity and inclusion. And as you can see, he color coordinated his attire to fix his tie.
I didn't wear my crushed velour jacket. I was encouraged to, but I didn't. First of all, I want to say, Sawari, from the Thai culture, what that means is welcomes or greetings. It's really important for me to be able to say that because I'm in a place that I feel comfortable saying that. I've worked in industries and in offices where that wasn't welcomed. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. When this position was created, I wasn't looking for a position. I was looking for a place that I could do my heart work and my paycheck work in the same place. And so for those of you who understand what that means, when you're able to do your heart work where you get your paycheck, it's an incredible feeling. And so I think I've met a lot of folks in this room, and hopefully my passion comes out in my work because I love what I do. So I want to start off with talking about diversity and inclusion. Inclusion is the purposeful intent to embrace all people. And often I've worked in agencies where that word's been thrown around a lot because sometimes it's really difficult to embrace folks that might be the opposite of you. And so part of my purpose in this position is to really put intent to that. Diversity is the varying pieces of multiple elements of experience and strengths and knowledge. And so we are going to have the purposeful intent to embrace everyone, their knowledge, their experiences. And so I've had the opportunity over the last few months to meet a lot of you as I've been conducting the cultural county assessment of what we see. Some of that includes understanding the history of Adams County. And so I've asked, I think Adams County's been great because my second day here, when they gave me my email, I had like 40 emails of people welcoming me. Which was incredible. I had never experienced that anywhere else. And then I had told folks I wanted to know about Adams County, and when I came back to my office, there was like 3 books on my office. The big book about Adams County history? So I've read that, believe it or not. Part of my job is to support diversity and inclusion, and the way we've done that is to start with the cultural humility training. How many folks have done the training already? Okay, great. So the important piece of the training is a couple of things. One, to lay some foundational language around what we'll talk about in the future, because if we don't do that, we're starting from different places. But also it's to encourage courageous conversation in a safe and appropriate way. And so the more we practice courageous conversations is the term that I use, I think the stronger we're going to get at communicating and supporting the values and the norms that we have here in Adams County. The other pieces that will come along with the diversity and inclusion is to also work with our elected offices whenever they want consultation and support. And I got to tell you, so far, the elected offices we've been engaged with have been incredibly supportive in building a unified position around diversity and inclusion. And so that's really encouraging. And I am excited to meet Tina. We've been on the phone so much, so I appreciate you building that relationship. Another thing is coordinating all the external ADA. You heard Charles talk about ADA internally, but my responsibility is to respond to our community, to make sure that our buildings are accessible and that we're making it easy for folks to be able to get the service that they need. I live in Adams County, which means that I am part of that constituency. And so it's really important. It doesn't, I don't forget that a lot of the folks that work here live here. And so we are serving not only all the folks outside of us, but ourselves as well. And so it's really important for me to pay attention to that. I've been working very closely with facilities to look at the ADA updates that we need. And they've been wonderful at really getting right on top of that. And I think that as we make advancement in those areas, you're going to find that the access to services for the people we serve become much easier. Then the last part that I'll touch base on is building strategies to support Adams County being the most innovative and inclusive county in America. And that's a huge, lofty goal. However, I don't think I would be doing the work that I do if I didn't believe that systems could change. And so it was important as I spoke with leadership, I wanted to know how comfortable they were going to get with change, because change is not an easy thing. In the morning, I like to get up and eat my oatmeal. And my oatmeal's not there. I'm a little upset about it. And so that's plain just breakfast. And so when we talk about change, hopefully we're talking about embracing that change where folks from everywhere else want to come here to work. They want to come here to live. And it's exciting for me because we are one of the few counties that have a position dedicated like my position. And that's really, really important. If you've been a part of, hearing the news over the last 5 years, we all know that diversity and inclusion have been a major topic everywhere. But yet still systems aren't willing to put the effort to specialize in looking at that topic. I think we can be proud of Adams County for that. And so I look forward to meeting all of you that I haven't met. And like Matt, I want to meet all of you. If you all have any problems, please call Matt. But if you want anything else, please feel free to call me. And with that, I want to introduce to you Heather McDermott with Learning and Development.
I can't help it. I'm going to say good morning. Just know that when you hear the cue, good afternoon, that's when we're breaking into a team song and karaoke, and Matt apparently is leading us in that, so you can look forward to that when we're done here. I want to take us back for a minute to, you've heard it now a couple times, our goal of a place where people shine. And I know for a lot of you, that's probably the first time that you've heard this goal. I've obviously had some time to think about that. And for me, it's exciting because it really is about my opportunity to get to make a difference in whether or not you get up and dread Monday morning or you look forward to the week ahead. And I do think that that's a lofty goal, but I'm excited about being a part of it, and I hope it does make a difference for you. So I want to talk a little bit about what's ahead for the Learning and Development program. First thing I want you to know is that this program was really re-engineered with you in mind. We really wanted to listen to you and invest in you. So basically, you talked and we listened. We surveyed, for those of you who hopefully remember, we surveyed, I think, late this summer, middle of the summer, all the managers and the supervisors. We also met face-to-face with all the directors and elected officials, and we really wanted to hear what was working, what was not working, what mattered to you, and what we could do better. So we took that feedback, and basically we made a big ask of our commissioners and our our executive leadership team. Because a couple of things that we heard back was, first and foremost, you guys wanted learning that was relevant and connected, not only to your teams, but to the work and the strategy and the mission of Adams County. You also really wanted quality external trainers to be brought back to the organization. So when we made that big ask, the good news is our executive leadership team, the commissioners, they made a big commitment back, and I'm very grateful for that. Because really without that, it's very hard to run a successful learning and development program. So they really were willing to invest in you and to make this an organization where we are about learning, and that is part of our culture. So not only can you look forward to those quality external trainers taught by outside experts. But you can look forward to more classes. You're going to see more connection with the learning, not only through some pre and post work that comes with the class. Apparently, we're all sort of subject to that forgetting curve. For those of you that don't know what that means basically that after 30 days, you forget everything you heard 30 days earlier. For some of us, it's 2 days, right? So you guys wanted some ways to kind of keep that work more relevant. So that will be the pre and post work. We're also going to follow up with you and your team members approximately 30 days after you take a class. We're going to survey you and then survey you again. No. So we're going to follow up with you after you guys engage in learning so that you and your team members can talk about what you learned and why it matters. We're also going to offer some more programs in terms of things that last, in terms of series and longer duration. One of the things I'm most excited about is we are actually going to bring Toastmasters to the county. How many of you have heard about Toastmasters? Okay, a fair amount of you. So one of the things we heard in the feedback was that people really wanted and needed to work on their public speaking skills, right? We are serving the public. Many of you have to be in this room, and we know that people struggle with that. So not only does Toastmasters help you with your public speaking, but it also helps you just build your own self-esteem, your self-confidence, and your leadership skills. So you will hear more about that probably this week, but that's one of the things I'm very much looking forward to bringing to you all. A couple other things that are coming is learning at all levels. I think sometimes there's this perception that learning really only is sort of for the lower half of the organization. That's something everybody else needs to engage in. But I want to tell you, you have an executive leadership team and a group of directors that are extremely, and probably elected officials, sorry, I see some elected officials here, or representatives. But this group of people is very committed to their own learning, which I think is really exciting. And you don't see that a lot of times in other organizations. So that group of people has said, we want to invest in ourselves as well and make sure we are modeling what we're asking of our organization. So every other month, they're going to be coming together to take a deeper dive into some topics that are relevant to the organization. Managers, you asked for an enhanced series, not only just the Management 101 and the basics that goes along with kind of learning the policies and some of those important things, but you also wanted some learning and key components like situational leadership. How do we grow great employees? How do we do better cascading connections? And what I mean by that is, we have this organizational strategy at the top level and the commissioner's goals, but how do we all translate that and connect that into our daily work? Supervisors. You kind of wanted some of the same stuff as the managers, right? More than just the basic program and some things that what we refer to as maybe electives that happen outside of just that initial series of congratulations, you're a supervisor, now go get them. So some of the things that you can look forward to are things like creating high performance work teams. How do you do better 360 communication, right? Because you're really in that position, like Ray indicated earlier. You're the front line with our staff and our citizens, but you also have managers and directors above you that you have to answer to. So how do we get better at 360 communication? Self-awareness and kind of personal branding were some other things that you guys asked for that we will be bringing. Finally, one of the other things that I'm excited about is we're going to be doing sort of a new series for new employees called Building Team Adams. We got a lot of feedback that people are confused by county government. I've been here 13 years. Sometimes I am still confused by county government. And we also got feedback that people wanted us to really be talking more about our norms and values. So Building Team Adams will be a series. They'll be for new employees, like I said, where they will come together once a month, just a couple hours, but they'll take a deeper dive into those subjects of understanding county government a little bit better. I can't say we can dispel all the myths, but some of them. And then also really learning about the mission and the vision and the values and our culture here and how they can be a part of that and connect to that more. And then finally, we'll be integrating our employee volunteer program a lot into the learning programs, into some of the series offerings. So how many of you know we have an employee volunteer program? Good. How many of you know that your employees know that we have an employee volunteer program? Good. Because I hear a lot of people say, I didn't know that existed. So I just want to remind everybody that's 8 hours that our commissioners 2 years ago graciously made available to us. And I want to also say that that commitment is not just about using your 8 hours of leave, but it's really about allowing employees to learn about who their community is. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all really here for, right? Is to make a difference, and our mission to serve Adams County citizens and the community in which we work. So that program is a great opportunity to do that, and we'll be bringing that, like I said, incorporating that more into the things we do. So that is just a preview. Like you heard from Dennis, you can call Matt if you have any questions. No, you can call me at any time. I think most of you have probably met me before. So I'm happy to help you if you have questions, and I am going to hand it back over to Patty.
So hopefully by this point in time, you know who we are, and you know what we do, you know what we believe our purpose is, what our goal is. And so I want to conclude our part of the presentation with just a couple of things. The first one is our commitment to you. We are committed to ongoing open communication with all of you. Hopefully you've started to see some changes in the way communication happens around here. I mean, and it truly does start right at the top with Ray and his commitment to putting out information all the time, to being as transparent as we can be. That's the commitment of our team as well. On Matt's presentation, there was a note about dashboarding. And what we've talked about is the need, I think there's a need for a central repository of all of the information, all of the commitments, the questions that are coming in from employees, the requests, and follow-up on what's been done, the status, what's going to happen going forward. And that's one of the things that my team will be working on. Our team is going to really be working on enhancing that communication and making it available so that people know what's going on and it doesn't get lost in the mix. There's a lot going on in any given organization, and it's very easy for good intentions to go by the wayside. We're going to be very, very deliberate about not letting those things go by the wayside, and that's a commitment we're making. That will be responsive, that if you call us, when you call us, that we'll be responding. And it'll all be going through Matt. So if you have any needs, any questions, call Matt. Actually, like I started earlier in the presentation, call any of us. We have really made the commitment as a team. We don't care where the request comes from. We'll get it to the right person, and we will help you out. That's a commitment we are making. And that whole concept of starting from a place of yes. We will come to our roles very solutions-oriented. I always pictured it from the standpoint of it's you and us on one side of the table and the problem and the issue, or the issue on the other side of the table. And we are working side by side to tackle that issue or that problem. We are that trusted partner that you can rely on, and we want to help you work through any issues, and we will come from a solutions-oriented place. Now, along with our commitment, we do have some requests of you as well. And these are our asks of you to please partner with us. Partner with us on the vision that we have, on the goal that we've stated about creating a great place for people where people can shine. Tell us how we're doing. Give us feedback. Let us know when we're hitting the mark. Let us know when we've missed the mark. Give us an opportunity to adjust. We are really here to support you, and we will do our best work when we hear from you and can adjust accordingly. And support us, support our goal. That is a major ask. You know, we really want an organization where employees feel engaged, where they have that fire and that burn. One of the things that was very meaningful to me when I was meeting with the team is, by the second meeting, the group was saying, I love these meetings. I can't wait to come to these meetings. This is such a creative time for us when we come and we brainstorm. And it feels so good to feel that way about coming to work. And we really want you to partner with us to create that kind of environment for the people who are part of our organization. So much so, we put a handshake in there, that we see this as very much a reciprocal relationship between you and us, and how we can serve you. because really collectively, we are all Adams, right? That is the theme. That is kind of the broad mission. Our internal messaging is we are all Adams. And if we all come together, we can truly achieve that goal of being a place where every person shines. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty, and the entire People and Culture team. We should give them another round of applause because they have been working. They have been working for the last 6 to 9 months on this whole strategy, and it's very impressive. And I told them that, you know, an expectation is for us to nominate the People and Culture Core Service Area at the next International City County Managers Association for an award, because the work that they have been doing over the last 6 to 8 months is truly, you're leading in many ways. And so thank you for your commitment. We're going to now transition into some other topics, and I'm going to ask Nancy Duncan, our budget manager, to come forward. But before she goes she'll get her presentation ready, I really want Nancy to kind of go over some of the budget highlights of the 2018 budget, and then we'll dive into some other topics. But I forgot, and I apologize. I wanted to introduce the last member of our executive leadership team who started with us last week. And Alicia, will you please stand? Alicia Reese joined us. And we are really excited to have she is a local. She understands city and county management, and she's just going to be a real asset to the team, and we look forward to having you here with us. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Nancy, and Nancy's going to give us a couple of highlights.
After all the feely, touchy stuff, I know that you all are really excited about all the number stuff, but I am, and I think Ray is too. So to start off, on December 12th, 2017, we adopted the budget, or I should say the Board of County Commissioners unanimously adopted the budget, which was fantastic. It was a great way to end 2017, and we're looking forward to 2018. The budget for 2018 is $468 million. It's a 3.8% increase over the 2017 adopted budget. A couple things I wanted to point out. We've talked about them a little bit earlier. $3.9 million was built in for merit adjustments for 2018. And also $2.4 million was built in for the market adjustments that Terry touched on. You'll see those again. Terry said it, but I'll say it again. On your January check at the end of the month. So that's really great. And then Charles touched on the healthcare cost came in lower for 2018. That's an average savings of $5.11 per employee. Not every employee will see that amount. I'm seeing 98 cents. So I mean, it's truly an average of what you'll see. Also, the Board of County Commissioners authorized an additional 35.75 FTE for 2018, which is great. There's a new designation this year that you'll see. It's called Project Designated. That's in areas that we have extreme growth right now, but we want to be able to go back and reevaluate that. 18.75 of the FTEs are in public safety. And then the two project designated are in community and economic development, which is in Kristen's group, and also in Jeff Bowman's group, and I saw him earlier, but I don't see him, there he is, for a project manager, because again, we have such growth in the county right now. There are several projects that were started in 2017 that are going to go on into 2018. One is the Riverdale Animal Shelter. I think everybody has heard about that. It's being built over in the Parks area. Also Park Boulevard, which is phase 1, which started this past year in 2017. And phase 2, which will go on into 2018, and that's getting the road ready for that entryway into the park, or into the animal shelter. We also had the old shooting range remediation. That's also taking place at Riverdale. That's an ongoing project. Jen Rutter is heading that up right now in Kristen's group. And then with Jeff Maxwell's group, we have several projects. The 58th Avenue to Washington to York, the Dahlia Street Highway 224 to I-76, and Steel Street in Welby, which is related to an RTD bus station. Also, we're doing some reprogramming of the coroner's office also to better suit her needs. Ray, did you want to add anything for the projects that we've talked about?
The only thing I would add to that, and again, I just want to make sure that I communicate this to everyone. The coroner's office, as you know, or actually the former HSB building in Commerce City, I believe will soon be under contract. And we hope to maintain the first 3 floors of that building and occupy them. And it's the intent for the clerk and recorder to transition the current services that are being provided at the substation over to that new former HSB building, as well as house Tri-County Health and probation in that building. And so what that does is it allows a lot of space to open in the sheriff's substation, and it is his intent to move his headquarters to Commerce City. With that in mind, that last bullet, the coroner's office programming, will allow the coroner to expand her space and occupy that entire building in Brighton. And so that's what that last bullet means.
So those are all dollars that are associated with 2017 that will move into 2018. Some new projects that we have going on in 2018 are projects related to improving security across the county. I know that that was a big issue that the Board of County Commissioners and the executive leadership team both looked into. We've got updates at the regional park, which includes re-roofing the Waymire Dome and also the design of a multi-purpose arena. They've been without an arena there for a couple of years now, so this was something that was really looked at and was really vetted well to make sure that we covered what we needed there at the park. Fleet purchases and replacements, that's within the fleet area. There are replacement vehicles and then also new vehicles that are related to needs in the county. We're going to continue with ADA implementation and sidewalk improvements and increased allocations for human services and also open space acquisitions. All in total, we have $43.7 million in one-time maintenance and capital needs. So it's a great time right now in Adams County because we're expanding. We're looking at new ways to be innovative. And the best thing about it is right now we had a 17.9% increase in property taxes, which is $26 million increase. That's helping us so much with what we need and with the growth within the county. Did you want to talk about any of the new projects? Or?
I'll just mention, Nancy mentioned a lot of park development occurring in what we call Man Lakes, and I believe it was mentioned, I mentioned this during one of the coffees with Ray's, that we were looking at partnering with the Butterfly Pavilion, and unfortunately you may have heard that they made a decision to relocate in Broomfield. However, we did land the Denver Botanic Gardens, which they will be partnering with us and our Parks and Open Space Department, and will be having a significant presence at our park, regional park, which is a huge deal. And we're continue to have conversations with the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. And so we have spearheaded this really creative team to really help us come up with some design concepts around what that park will look like, really keeping in mind the amazing work that Nathan and his entire team has done with updating that master plan. And so times are changing in the county, and because we are one of the fastest growing counties, the board has put a lot of time and effort in terms of the quality of life and making sure that that regional park truly serves as a regional destination for all of the citizens in Adams County. And so you will see us mentioning that because they are investing a lot of money into that park, and as well as the new Riverdale Animal Shelter. And so I think that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. So I wanted to let you know that the proposed, no, we're way past that. We're to the adopted. We have the adopted budget out on the budget website and also on the internet, the one that's open to the public. So if you have any questions, I want you to feel free to call any of us in the budget office. We're more than happy to talk to you about any budget numbers, anything that you see, any projects that you have questions on. And if you just want to learn more about budget, we're open to that too. I know a lot of people look at it and go, not so much. But it's exciting to me. It's exciting to the executive leadership team. And we're really happy that the Board of County Commissioners adopted it unanimously this year. So thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. I will tell you, when I was appointed interim county manager at the end of March or 1st of April, that was the first thing I thought of was this would be my first county budget, and I want to publicly thank Nancy and her entire team for making that process really easy for me and the entire executive leadership team. I know we spent lots of hours preparing the 2018 budget and getting to know each other quite well. And so with that, can you put the next presentation? So where do we go from here? And I thought about this because we are now going to start preparing for 2019. We just adopted the 2018 budget, and so now how do we build this inclusive environment? And so I put together this strategic planning and budget module for 2019, and it's a priority for me to really engage the elected offices in this process. For years, we have gone off-site with the county commissioners and have participated in a 3-day retreat somewhere. And at times, the elected offices were joined us, and other times they weren't. And so I really put a lot of thought and effort in terms of how do we move forward. And so I've come up with this concept, or this strategic planning and budget module for 2019 that I'm proposing to the board tomorrow, that really kind of allows us to move in that direction. And you'll see the bubble to the left is public safety, and I've included, the sheriff, the Office of Emergency Management, CJCC in that first bubble, the coroner, the district attorney, the chief probation officer, the chief judge, and community corrections in that really what I would say make up public safety and the law enforcement side of things. And then on the right-hand side is really public resources and records, which in my opinion is the treasurer, the assessor, clerk and recorder, surveyor, and the public trustee. We have never really engaged a lot of these elected offices before in this process, and I'm talking about the public trustee, the chief probation officer. We provide facilities, but we've never really engaged them in this process. And so what I'm proposing is hosting a one-day off-site retreat with both of these groups, with the entire executive leadership team. And if we move on to the next slide, we'll spend 2 days with our Board of County Commissioners really focused on the operations of community services, people and culture, and administrative services. And then we'll come back on the third day and we'll invite all of the elected offices back so that we could all present our 2019 strategic priorities and goals. And I think this model really allows all of us to be on the same page, working in the same direction. And so I wanted to unveil this today. I do plan on I've talked to several of the board members, and they are 100% supportive, but I will be formally asking them to adopt this model for 2019. And I wanted to share that with you. In addition to some other key, before we dive into Q&A, because I know some of you probably have lots of questions, one of the things that Heidi and I just went through is a 360-degree performance review. And so what I want to talk about today is the need, and I've asked Patty and Terry to really spearhead this. I've made the decision to do 360-degree performance reviews for all the directors this year. I will not tie it to performance evaluations because it's really the goal to see, to establish a baseline, because I've asked Patty and her entire team to really put together individual learning development plans for each of the directors. But my goal is to implement this at every level. And so if you're sitting in this room as a supervisor, manager, division director, at some point in the future, you will have a 360-degree evaluation, because I think it's extremely important, and that we understand how we are being perceived by the people that we are leading and managing. And so, again, I only mention this to you because I've asked Terry and Patty to start working on this, and I don't want any fear, because it's not going to be used in any way towards performance reviews or evaluations during that time period. I think, as you can see today, we have demonstrated a lot of, stuff that we've been working on, a lot of priorities. And, at the end of the day, it goes back to my leadership philosophy that everyone in this organization matters. And I think it's important as leaders and for me to communicate the need for us to be on the same page. If you look at us where we were 4 or 5 years ago, most of the department director, or all of the department directors, once reported to the county commissioners, and we've changed our structure quite a bit to where we are today. But we still have policies and procedures that exist that aren't applied across the board. And so it is our goal to make sure that all the policies and procedures that we have adopted are applied consistently across the board, so that every employee is treated equally and is measured equally. And so with that, I just wanted to open up for Q&A, because I could see the clock now. I think we have about 10, 15 minutes left for Q&A. I'm going to ask Brian to come up. Oh, a 360-degree evaluation is a survey that is emailed to all of your direct reports that asks a series of questions, and they rate based on their perception or their review of you being in that role. And I found it extremely helpful just reading it when I received mine just this past month. And so we could definitely go into more specifics and examples of what those questions are if you have them. But Brian, do we have any questions in the audience? Go ahead.
Before, just real quick, because I know we're on the heels of performance evaluations, Terry's going to talk
I forgot.
just really quick about performance evaluations and what to expect over probably the next 3 or 4 weeks.
That was a key piece. Sorry, Terry.
So in 2016, we introduced a new way of calculating merit increases using review score and compa ratio, or position in range. The structure that we created is called a merit matrix. There have been a lot of questions regarding how the merit matrix is structured. And so this year we'll be sharing it with all team members. After all reviews are completed, we work with budget to build the merit matrix, and it will be finalized by the end of March. Some of you may wonder what is taking so long and why do you wait until right before the month we're receiving our increases to share that. We're not able to provide that until that time because we use the data from your reviews to build this merit matrix. So we use all the review scores as building blocks for this merit matrix. And so that's why the timing of this is the end of March. So we will be working on a communication plan so that we can share that merit matrix with all employees. And so that'll be sometime at the end of March. So just a couple of details regarding the common review process. I did send out an email last week that included a lot of the information that you need to know about that. But just a reminder that all reviews are due on March 15th, excluding the DA, sheriff, coroner, and the public trustee's office. And so the better that we're able to hold to that March 15th deadline, the sooner we can start putting together the merit matrix so that things just roll smoothly that way. So just a couple of reminders. If you have employees who are going to be out on FMLA and will not be able to complete the review process, please talk to Deanna Geyer or one of your business partners, and then we can make sure that the system is, we can pull them out of the common review process and set them up in a future process. And then the other thing is supervisors were tied to employees. So in the Halogen system, we have to tie a supervisor to an employee, and that's how we know what supervisors are completing what employee reviews. So we did that as of December 22nd. And so if there were supervisor changes after December 22nd, and you intend for that new supervisor to be completing the review, please contact your business partner or Deanna Geyer so that we can change who that review is connected to in Halogen.
All right, now's a great opportunity for question and answers. I can facilitate the microphone. I think we can have people come up here and answer questions up here at the podium. So what questions can we answer for you guys, just in general? Any questions? It is Monday morning. I think everybody needs to stand up and stretch, and we got one right here.
Could you talk about the sheriff's transition to having an office locally and what sort of services and things they'll be providing here?
Oh, in this building. Who wants to? Is anyone other than myself?
Good morning, everybody. I'm answering this. I'm Heidi Miller. I'm the county attorney. I'm answering because risk now falls under the county attorney's office. The sheriff's office has graciously agreed to take over jurisdiction of this building. Technically, we are within the jurisdiction of Brighton, and so Brighton Police Department would normally be the responding agency. The sheriff's office believes that it would be more efficient and effective if they were the responding agency for this building, similar to the way they are at the courthouse. And so they will now be the initial responding agency if there's a 911 call here or an incident in this building. I think that will be very helpful in terms of just knowing our operations and our connections and having access to our building, which is always a challenge when an outside agency is responding in one of our buildings. In addition to that, the sheriff's office is really making an effort to have some presence in this building on just a daily operational basis. They are not committed to being here every day, all day. They do not have the staffing currently to do that. But we've developed an office right off the front lobby. You guys may have seen there's now a sign, a sheriff's office sign, and there's an office back there so that deputies who work in this district can stop by and do some desk work from here, just to have that additional law enforcement presence. The other significant change is that the Office of Emergency Management has moved to the Sheriff's Office, and OEM, Office of Emergency Management, will now be housed right off of the back employee entrance where Community Corrections used to be. Emergency Management will be housed there, and that is an office of the Sheriff's Office. So we also have that additional connection with the Sheriff's Office in our building. For those of you at the Human Services Building, as you know, you guys have private security that we do not have in this building. So I know that there was some concern when employees saw that Sheriff's Office was putting some attention here, and why isn't that happening in your building? And again, the immediate difference is that we don't have any security in this building. But just so you know, we are working with the Westminster Police Department to try and get something similar set up with the Westminster Police Department at the new Human Services Center. And we are continuing to work on what I will admit is has not been our best effort in terms of planning and addressing security issues within our facilities. All of us recognize that we need to be doing better. We have a committee for this building, and we're establishing one in Human Services right now to have regular meetings to talk about how we are going to address issues, and then we will be rolling out new practices and training for all employees so that we all have a better idea how to handle different situations, whether that be our worst case scenario, some type of an active shooter scenario, or even just, tornadoes, snowstorms, the more basic stuff that we deal with. So that is a major goal for risk management early this year. And we're getting a lot of support from facilities, human resources, communications, emergency management, the sheriff's office, IT. We're all working together to make sure we do better going forward.
Great, thank you, Heidi. Any other questions in relation to the presentation, people and culture, some of the exciting things that are going on? There's a lot of pastries out there, so on your way out, please get some. Anything else?
What did you guys think of today's meeting?
There's one up here. Here.
When these departments move and the offices change, can you send out a communication so that everyone knows where they're located? I think that's something that gets missed, and you hear it just by the grapevine sometimes. So as they move, will you let us know?
Did you hear the question or the request? And the answer is yes. We'll make sure that we communicate the new location and make sure everyone is aware of the move. So definitely. And I believe I was going to ask Jim up as well. So Jim, do you want to come up real quick?
Thank you, and that brings up a really good point because we actually did communicate about an OEM moving, but that is something that takes about 5 or 6 times to hear before it sinks in, which is true for all communication, really. We would love to believe that every person in this room and every person in the organization reads the Tuesday email, commits it to memory, and then knows exactly what's going on. Not true, right? There's no chance. And that's why we try to reach you in about 4 or 5 different ways. And so My Adams posts, workplace, and of course the Tuesday email are the primary sources of information for you. And we understand all people like to learn or at least read this information or have it read to them in different ways. So that is something we did communicate once, but obviously it didn't reach you, and so we were ineffective. So we're going to try and do this a lot of different ways so we reach all of you. One of the things that I want to remind folks about is using our services. Obviously, we create stuff like you're seeing on the board here, the video that you saw, but we also do a lot of internal stuff as well, and we have great proofreaders and great writers and a whole team. Krista does a great job managing our production pipeline, and so if you want any help on these sort of things where our expertise is available, please don't feel like you have to take that on yourself. And that includes any sort of like long form writing project, graphic design for an internal function, even if it's just, hey, we have an employee of 30 years who's leaving the organization and we want to make a cool flyer to invite everybody. If you give us a couple weeks, it's no problem. If you give us a week, it's no problem. If it's just a one-page flyer, we can turn that around for you so you don't have to waste your time trying to figure out how to become a graphic designer overnight. So please feel free to reach out. We're not asking for work, but we certainly love to help, especially when it comes to these internal projects, because it's really hard to reach employees. We're busier than ever, and so we really do appreciate you reaching out to us. And on that note, I sent directors and elected officials an email last week, and I asked you for your milestones, your achievements, and your stories. And that's because we send out the community report each year. And we also like to lay out a strategy of how we're going to externally communicate to our residents all the great work that all of your staffs are doing. But I can't do it if I don't have the information. So please respond to that email. Let us know what you have done over the past year. I'm going to point to a couple things that I think are really worthwhile to send in my direction that we can then turn around and communicate to our residents. I know Bridget has raved about her new location, really providing great services. She has a satellite office now over at the Human Services Center. We also communicated, of course, extensively about the new Human Services Center. That was something that no one had to bring to our attention, but Bridget has brought it to my attention on a couple of occasions that this has really transformed her service delivery because there are so many impacted residents that live close there. That's one opportunity. I know that Stan in the previous year sent over a note and said, hey, through our innovation, we are now reducing wait times by 41%. those are great stories for us to tell our residents, because obviously people say DMV and they like shriek up as if they're going to the dentist, right? But now this may give them a different expectation of the service they're going to receive. So please, if you'll respond to that email, it doesn't have to be any new work. I don't want to put new work on anyone's plate. With metrics that you already gather to evaluate how you're performing, send those over. Send over any stories that you have so we can begin putting together our community report and we can communicate these things to residents throughout 2018. We have our key influencers in the room today. Love you guys, it's not us. It's all of you. In any organization, the most influential people are all of you. The direct report, right? Our rank and file employees look to you for leadership in a lot of different ways, and one of them is certainly through communication, right? So if you are a communicator to them of all of the things that you have heard today, we talked about it, right? 6, 7 touch points before people start to sink in. One of those is going to come from our office. One of them might come from an email from Ray, Brian, Patty, or someone on the executive leadership team. But if you can reinforce that in your staff meetings, trust me, you have more influence than I do, than Ray does. So please, remember when you talk to your employees, reinforce the messages that you hear, that you read, that you see, because that's really where it starts to sink in, because they look to you all. They know you better than they know us, and they answer to you too, so that kind of helps. So keep that in mind. And one more thing, the employee news that we do on Workplace, we're going to do it twice a month. So you're going to see that at least twice a month. Please voluntold some of your people to come over and do it. And that's my clandestine way to try and get people to watch it. Because people aren't going to watch myself and Amin every week, right? Because they like to see their friends on there. When they see their coworkers on there, they're like, wow. Now they start to get the message, and I really don't care who reads it. I just want them to get the message. So please allow your folks, if I reach out and say, hey, someone volunteered, someone in your department to come over and read the news this week, let them do that, because it's going to help us get the message out about all the amazing things that we're working on, that Patty's group is now rolling out. So we really could use your help there. So thanks, Ray, for the time. I do appreciate a couple of minutes, and I think we're probably past time now, so I'll pass this over.
All right, one last call. Any other questions?
What did you think of today's meeting? This is the first time really we've convened all the supervisors and managers, and I think we've heard loud and clear that we struggle with communicating at all levels throughout the organization, and I think it's important that we continue these types of meetings so that you all hear firsthand, not just our leadership philosophy, but what's going on in the county. And then you take that information and disseminate it back to all of the frontline staff. And so we have our next one scheduled, right, Geneva, in April. And I want to publicly thank Geneva for setting up today's meeting. She really keeps all of us in line in the county manager's office, and we couldn't do any of it without you, Geneva, and so I want to thank you for that. Again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules. I know carving out a couple of hours of your day is really tough, but it's worth it. And I think you have seen today that we are committed to following through with our word, and as you can see, I want to just throw a number out there because Heather McDermott said that the Board of County Commissioners and the executive leadership team put resources behind the training and development program. Well, I think it's about $150,000 in 2018 budget. So we did put a lot of resources so that we could have an effective training and development program for all of you and for the rest of the organization. And I mentioned the 360-degree evaluations. I will tell you, we're also going to put resources, tie resources to those learning development plans for all of us. And so we're not just going to identify goals, but we will put resources necessary so that we could continue being a learning and continuous improvement organization. And so with that, I want to thank you. And please, as Brian said, please take a few pastries with you on your way out and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.